Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. I have a couple of upcoming events that I think will impact not only your community, but many to come. And I wanted to start off with the Middle Class Summit. The OIC of South Florida is putting on this event, and what a time to put it on with the rising cost of inflation, the housing crisis. This is going to be a summit that talks about initiatives that benefit the middle class, where it stands, but also those who want to enter the middle class. As they say, they're building up, the people who are below it, below the middle class. And really, when you think about it, the middle class is like the torso of the body. It connects the head and the feet. And if look at those leading and making the decision makers with those who are doing the work. It can't be done without the middle class. And so that's going on August 17th and 18th. And that is going to be at the Hard Rock, the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood. So you still have time to be a part of it. It is, oh man, look at the panel of speakers. It is top notch. That is what I can say. When I first saw it and started to look at who was speaking and the type of people I would be able to connect with that maybe, you need to connect with, people you've been trying to reach, but difference makers. And if you want to be a difference maker, if you are a business owner, a nonprofit in the nonprofit world, but you are impacting the community right now, you want to know what's going on in the middle class because they are generally the ones who support the upper class and the lower class. So these are the people you're serving. And so you want to know what they need, a better way to serve them. You want to be at the Middle Class Summit August 17th and 18th. And then I want to talk about the race town halls are coming back. At least one. On Friday, August 26th. This was a big deal. When this first happened in 2020, Carla Harris of the People Institute put on the race town hall. And really, it was 13 different chambers of commerce and dozens, and I mean like really, hundreds almost, that came out, professionals to come out and talk about what had happened after George Floyd, what the race relations, what diversity, equity, and inclusion really meant. And I had to tell you myself, when I first was thinking of going, I was hesitant. I was like, I do not want to, I want to go, but I don't want to go to something that where there's a bunch of finger pointing and blaming. But it turned out to be such a great education. I went to several. In fact, I went to at least three of the race town halls, and the race town halls are back. And I want you to get an idea of what they were about. And actually, this time they're focusing on uh, 2 years later. What have we learned? What's happening? What's not happening still? But other things that are happening. What is this movement that started 2 years ago? What are we seeing? What is the fruit of that labor? But I want you to take a look at a story I was able to cover during that time that gives you an idea of what the Race Town Hall was about and what first came out of it. And then we'll look at something else.
These footsteps are paving the way to help businesses, nonprofits, and entire communities unpack what diversity really looks like with the Diversity Corporate Challenge.
The benefit of diversity is a direct correlation to a profitable bottom line.
Profitable is right. Some business reports say companies could be earning their share of over $1 trillion in profits by simply diversifying their workforce.
The community is diverse. If the community is your consumer market, you want to be able to represent those that are buying your products, buying your services, to see that the organizations that they're supporting are diverse and that they look like them.
The Diversity Corporate Challenge comes on the heels of months of riveting conversations during town halls on racial awareness and cultural equity. They were hosted by the People Institute in partnership with 13 South Florida chambers, business leaders, and over 250 attendees.
it's an every single day thing that we need to do. There is no one thing that we can do that's going to set us up for the future. We have to deal with this every person, every day.
And as we move forward, there has to be money behind those initiatives. There has to be true support, not just that making it look good, making it sound good.
That's it. You know, it is, and it puts meat on the bones. And we all know that the numbers game never worked in terms of diversity and inclusion, and you know, this quota game that we've been so used to. But you know, when you really put some traction into it, as you said, Jeannie, then we start to move the dial. And it's also about shared power. And it doesn't take anything away from people. And I think that it's that fright, you know, even in this culture that we have right now in this climate, it's all about, oh, well, we're going to take this. If they become part of the equation, then we all lose. No, we don't.
Talk to your people internally first. Get their true, unguarded feedback. And yes, it could be painful. It could hurt, but to really talk to, I would start with the leaders in your company. I would then go lower down within the management chain. And yes, why not have a town hall internally and get people's feedback? And once you get the feedback, I would then bring in a professional, certainly Carla qualifies, obviously, to really determine what the next steps are. Don't just go running into this without a whole lot of thought. I wouldn't do this in a vacuum, because if you do this wrong, we set ourselves back another decade or two. We want to make sure this is a positive step for everybody. And I would think talk to professionals that are either in the HR diversity inclusion space to really give you guidance. Don't do it alone.
The Diversity Corporate Challenge, not just for businesses, but for any corporate body impacting the community.
Well, first of all, Carla had assembled a number of leaders from several counties and from all levels of leadership. Government, like myself, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, as well as churches, and companies of all sizes. So it really gave you the breadth of how race touches all of us, and the diversity and the inclusion as well. So it was very robust. I think one of the best opportunities that we have to offer diversity and inclusion and truly to move it forward is right in our churches. I mean, we come there to serve God, do God's work. So we need to be open with our eyes and our ears to all areas of inclusion. And I think I saw and heard stories that helped me be a better parishioner.
We have the plan for you through the Diversity Corporate Challenge. There are 3 tiers of engagement for any company of any size to participate. Lets you know where you are and where you should be as it relates to diversity within your organization. What would happen if your executive leadership team looked like your frontline workers? Just as diverse from top to bottom. The Diversity Corporate Challenge.
Now, again, the Race Town Hall takes place Friday, August 26th. I will put the links in the chat so that you can follow that and register for the Race Town Hall. Be a part of it. Be a participant. You're not forced to speak. But I also the Diversity Corporate Challenge came out of that Race Town Hall. But I also want to show you what some people have actually done with that Diversity Corporate Challenge, who actually took the challenge, and this is what they had to say.
We have a very large racial divide problem, both internally and externally, with our constituency groups and our internal needs. And opera is like the ivoriest of ivory towers, right?
8 major organizations in Palm Beach County, Florida, speaking out after making a bold move to change the perception of the Palm Beaches, including the hub that generates tourism. Discover the Palm Beaches.
Organizations that want to succeed over the long term are those who embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion as a core value.
Discover the Palm Beaches and the Cultural Council of Palm Beach County led the charge for change, turning to Carla Harris of the People Institute, who created the Diversity Corporate Challenge.
The challenge is really about embracing the action behind the statement. There are loads of benefits of diversifying your workforce and your organization. And the first and most important benefit is the bottom line.
The Diversity Corporate Challenge has 3 tiers of engagement to determine where your company stands in regards to diversity. There are 6 challenges, and a company can choose to take one challenge or all 6. The organizations from the Palm Beaches chose 3.
Really being allowed to going through a process of this to pick the strategies that are going to get you the best outcomes, not just in terms of diversification, but also expanding your audience, which helps with income streams, which helps with ticket sales, which helps with getting another $100,000 grant.
That's right. What action steps specifically can you take to acknowledge bias and stop it?
Before joining the challenge, many of the organizations participated in what Carla calls brave conversations.
Having that practical knowledge of how to engage new communities, how to communicate with people effectively in a way where they felt welcomed by the ballet, which has an inherent history of being,
You can say it. You can say it.
inherently biased.
Many of the organizations made the decision to remove advanced education from every position unless it was an integral part of the job. And that's huge. It's huge because now an organization is able to weigh experience in lieu of having a degree.
I think for us the biggest challenge with the challenge is just maybe thinking that it was going to take too much time, cost too much, and maybe distract us from other work and other priorities. Specifically the blind hiring practice, we thought that was going to take a lot of extra time and resources. We have a new system in place and we're actually going through it right now with a new job opening, and it is I wish we've done it. I wish we had done it for the last 8 years that I've been here.
So again, the Race Town Hall on Friday, August 26th. And you have, it's Zoom, so you can do it from your home. You can participate. That chat, that will be in the chat. And then again, August 17th and 18th, be a part of the Middle Class Summit. You won't want to miss it. Some really great things coming up this week. I hope you'll get a chance to participate and be impactful in your community. Don't just exist, do something. Thanks for joining Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez.